Hi, this is Dr. Duran and welcome back to Jerry Talks. Today we're talking about a new Alzheimer drug that has been recently approved. Patients have come to me asking me about this new medication, how safety, how effectiveness, but the question is, should you take it? Well, we're talking about a medication called aducanumab. This medication had received an accelerated approval by the FDA on June 7 of this year, and after controversy, it was indicated for patients with mild cognitive impairment and early signs of Alzheimer. The medication is a monoclonal antibody that is an engineered protein that sticks to the amyloid molecule that is responsible for forming plaques, and it's believed that these plaques, are responsible for forming tangles inside the cells that eventually lead to destroying the cells. Once the medication is given, there's medication binds to these plaques, and then eventually our own immune system will destroy the plaques. And the hope is that, once the plaques are removed, the cells stop dying, and our thinking, memory, and the function of the cells start improving. As I said, after multiple controversies, regarding the medication, because initially the medication was approved for Alzheimer's dementia, and that led to a lot of controversy. Some people of the FDA actually quit, and eventually after certain modifications they decided the medication was going to be indicated for mild cognitive impairment and early signs of dementia. However, not every patient with dementia will be a candidate for this medication. Only patients with Alzheimer and patients who potentially can be proved that they have these beta amyloid plaques. The way to prove that is by two different studies. One of them is the amyloid PET scan, and the other one is by a lumbar puncture. Lumbar puncture is approved by Medicare, and potentially what you're looking is for this beta amyloid protein. However, PET scans are not approved by Medicare, and usually the cost is like around $5,000, and very limited centers actually can't even perform those studies. The medication is an infusion medication, an infusion that is given every 4 weeks. Unfortunately, it's going to be a medication that is going to give him for life. However, the medication has led to a lot of controversy, especially because of their side effects. 30% of these patients may develop some swelling of the brain that is reversible, and other 10% will develop some bleeding inside the brain. These patients require constant monitoring by neurologists and pharmacologists, and they require constant CTs just to monitor the patient has any swelling or any bleeding inside the brain. And then, eventually there's some protocols on deciding when the medication should be stopped or when the medication could be continued. Unfortunately, the medication also is very expensive. The cost of the medication is $56,000 per year. And as you can imagine, Medicare, Medicaid, or other private insurance have not approved the medication. I think there's the company Biogen is working with the VA to see if they will be able to provide the medication. The company is also working on different insurances as we speak, just to see if the medication potentially can be approved. The effectiveness of the medication has been also very controversial. There have been two major studies. One, it was positive. It did show some decline in the thinking, memory, and function of the brain. However, there was another big study that also did not have the same conclusion as the first one, and basically showed that the medication did not work. The other concern that we have is even the study that showed some benefit. The reality, the benefit was fairly small, and when they compared memory testing, there was not very big significant improvement, based on the randomized control study. The reality is that it's a medication that still needs to be studied again. We need more studies to decide if really the medication is going to be effective. As we see, there has a lot of controversies regarding, the infusion for life, the side effects, the risk for swelling, the risk for bleeding. and potentially the cost. $56,000, a year with the number of Alzheimer patients that we have and that we'll be having the next 30 years. It can become like a real struggle for Medicare eventually if they do want to provide this medication to all these beneficiaries. Again, thank you very much for following us. Please don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. Please follow us on social media. Again, follow us in our podcast. You can see it at Spotify, or you can always go to www.jerrytalks.com. Thank you.